We made it through week one, Mountaineer fans. I can't believe it. Made it through week one, and it's gonna be it's gonna be a fun season. We got Coop in the house, Curtis, Fiona. We have Eric joining us. I didn't think Eric was gonna make it. 5 minutes before, he hit me up and said, "Hey, I have family over. I gotta hide." I said, "Go to the car, go to a closet." He's in his spare room, and he is gonna give us his all. And I'm so happy to have him here. We're totally off the rails already. We're talking about random stuff, and uh, it was a fun to have a 0 week, Eric. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Last week, hey Afton, 0 week. We're now into the real week one. Um, I'll talk a little bit of what happened Friday. Friday night, I was on Jackson Johnson here on the Voice of College Football, has an Alabama channel. Asked me to come on, and we were going to talk about Alabama being removed from West Virginia's schedule. We had Mountaineer Paul on and Cody Stovall. They're on the Locked On channel. So talked with Mountaineer Paul. Jackson's going to release that sometime today or tomorrow. We went off the rails, guys. It was a fun time. An hour and 20 minutes of just, if we got 20 minutes of good content, we went off the rails. We had great conversation. Going to have Mountaineer Paul on eventually. He is busy. Every day he does content. We love him. Love Drake Toll over at that channel. Hey, the way I look at it, Eric, is there's probably 5 good West Virginia college channels, maybe 3. Okay. And my content is different than Paul's. I lean more towards gold blue dude. You know what I mean? Like I'm more emotion, like, how I feel. I'm going to talk more about the highlight for me, Eric, of the whole weekend. I'm going to give you my top 3. You ready?
I'm ready. Hit me.
Scotty Fox, that run gave me goosebumps. I needed that. I needed that Mountaineer magic, that blue and gold motivational enema right up my butt. I needed that. That Mountaineer sunshine. What do you think,
The
Eric?
lightning strike. Oh, that's everybody's. That's high on everybody's list.
Right. Number 2 would have been, I would have to say, would be, you know what? It is definitely Rich Rod getting choked up.
That was a good moment.
And then Rich Rod once again, and it's the fact that the way it was said in his presser, he said, "Thank you for letting me be here."
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for letting me be here. That was sincere. Guys, if you're not a Rich Rod fan, you could think he's the biggest horse's ass in the world. That was sincere. That was heartfelt. He won me over. Whatever doubts I had, I'm all in.
Shane, I completely agree with you. They asked him about before the game, did you take a moment? And he said, he admitted he really hadn't. But I think because up to that point, he has a lot on his mind. But with the game, being done, have a great win, nice victory. I think, he had a chance to stop and smell the roses. And when you're sitting in that stadium and it's full of people singing country roads, it's hard not to be caught up in that moment.
Yeah, Curtis, we're going to get to those other 2. Yeah, it's hard not getting caught up. And I didn't go. I gave my tickets. So what happened is someone messaged me right after the show. And some random guy messaged me. It was like the first guy hit me up. I'm like, okay, here are the tickets. And I transferred those tickets like that. It's so easy to do now. Didn't want any money from them. Just, hey, here are my tickets. And I said, just watch the damn show. That was my plug. So hopefully we get one more viewer. But no, seriously, there are a lot more highlights. Those were the top 3. We're going to talk about others. But overall, I kind of when I started off the first quarter, I kind of had like the sinking stomach feeling, like this doesn't look very good. If West Virginia is only up one touchdown with at half, Robert Morris might be in it. But if you look at the overall four quarters and look at the box scores, it wasn't even close. They only had
Yeah,
120 yards.
exactly. And I'm sorry, Shane interrupted, but yeah,
Yeah,
other than the scoreboard, we were dominating that game. It's just that you turn the ball over that many times, especially that many times in a short time period. Yeah, that's rough.
no, and then going through like the news and the press and all that, we know, guys, unless you live in a cave, you know Ohio played Rutgers tough. And we don't know what kind of Rutgers team Schiano has. You know, Rutgers is kind of in the same position West Virginia is. They have Schiano 2.0. We have Rich Rod 2.0. Rutgers is nearly the team they were 15 years ago under Schiano. But Ohio has a good quarterback. And looking back, I'm getting ahead of myself, but we're going to go back to the game. Looking back on the history of that series, I think it's like 13-4. We've lost 4 games. Mountaineers have against Ohio. They're 0-2 when they go to Ohio and play there. I mean, the last loss was 1949 and 1897, so it's been a minute. But I don't know, Eric. It's going to be a long season, a lot of question marks. There are people, Eric, I'm going to ask you, there are people that are saying, we're going to talk about Bowers. We're going to talk about Vaughn. But right now, let's just talk about the quarterback room. Every one of those guys looked like they could win Big 12 games.
Yeah.
But Nico was fantastic. Now, when he took that snap, he looks like he has a little wiggle and a jiggle in the belly. I didn't realize he's 230 pounds.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there? Would you want your quarterback to be coming in to the game? I'm thinking that's probably 10 or 12 pounds more than what he should be.
Shane, I'm with you. So one of the things we talked about last time is the notion that this is going to be a great season to watch and learn. Just keep track of things and make mental notes. And who in the world, because you hear the coach speech every year. Now I thought everybody figured out that, hey, we have a really good quarterback room, but to have all the quarterbacks look so good, even with the fumble at the very last end of the play, end of the game. Other than that, everybody looked really good. So for Nico to come in at 230, I think that they were telling him, look, you are more of a fullback runner than a tailback runner. You're going to take some punishment. You're probably going to have to carry some bulk with you to help with that. That's the only thing I can figure, because I'm with you. I think 220 is a better weight for him. I think he would have been a better runner at 220, but we'll see. But the thing, going to the throw that he made to Cam Vaughn, that throw, when I saw it in real time, I thought that was as good as Will Greer in Texas. I think it was Geno Smith throwing to, I can't remember if it was Tavon or Stephen Bailey against Marshall. But those kind of long bombs where you just drop it right in a basket right in front of the receiver.
Right.
I don't know that we have another quarterback that can make that throw. That was beautiful.
Ball placement was really on just fantastic, and that's something that I think puts him ahead of the other guys. I mean, we really didn't see the other guys get to throw the rock around like that, but I would love for him to be able to carry the ball. And I think they're calling the fullback now at high school the sniffer, the guy that kind of goes out there and puts his head down and hits a few guys. He looks like a sniffer with that little bit of Buddha belly. And my concern is fourth quarter, that stamina, on some of those games down in Texas, like they're gonna Texas coming up to Morgantown, but you're gonna be playing games where it might be hot, it might be a little bit muggy, in October. You don't know what the weather's gonna be when you're traveling. Uh, I just worry about old Nico with that extra 15 pounds of Dunkin' Donuts carrying around. But hey, that's coming from a guy that weighs 230. So, having that weight, I know exactly what that feels like. So, that was my biggest surprise because I saw it on the field. I saw the little belly. I'm like, okay. Then I heard it on the radio today. I'm like, wow, that is a lot. Now, Scotty Fox, we talked about this. We're still banging on the quarterbacks. The hot take here. I gave you a little bit of a taste of it before, but I'm going to throw both barrels at you. I don't think Scotty Fox, Mountaineer Nation, don't hate me. I love the kid. But is he going to be here in 2 years?
That's a great question, Shane. And you got a room full of quarterbacks, and we didn't even see. Goodness, who was the quarterback we have that Brown?
Max Brown.
Yeah, he's injured. So
Yeah.
they said don't even dress him. All due respect to Robert Morris, we're better off not playing him this week.
Yeah.
Now that being said, I don't know how you keep that much talent because Scotty Fox, he's got a lot of potential to go to different places. He could do some things. Jalen, it's his last year, unless something changes. So I don't know. I mean, that's a great question, but I got a question for you. It used to be the thing that you had one main back, your feature back, and that feature back would get, 20, 30 carries a game. And then the game shifted because people figured out, hey, you get more longevity out of your backs. They run better if you play multiple backs. And so now it's very common, the 1,000-yard rusher is still a thing, but it's very common that you have multiple running backs. Are we seeing a new dawning here? Are we seeing this now with quarterbacks? Because you're right. I'm a little concerned about Nico lasting into the fourth quarter. Um, he's not the most fleet of foot, although he is a willing runner and he is a determined runner. You get in that fourth quarter, he may not be the best runner, and you got to worry about him getting hurt. However, if you start cycling in quarterbacks, if you give everybody playing time, maybe you got a shot at keeping, a player like a Scotty Fox. I don't know. What do you think?
The only that's exactly what I was thinking. My only concern is the flow, the ebb and the flow of the game. My kid's high school has the same issue. They have a quarterback that's fantastic, but towards the end of the game, might get dinged up. They put a kid in that can throw the rock well, but it's that flow, it's that repetition with the receivers. That's what I'm concerned about because you only have so much time in practice, rep wise, to get with those receivers. I just don't know. I mean, it's like 2 is 1 and 1 is none, but it's just to the point where you have so many of these guys that are good. Scotty Fox, Jalen, you got these guys. I think you're going to play two. You're going to see 2 quarterbacks on the field at the same time. I mean, absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, there's going to be.
I think you got a real good chance of that happening. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're going to see some gadget plays. You're going to see, I think you're going to even see Scotty Fox go out, go out and catch a pass. I mean, you're going to see some crazy, Rich Rod is going to, he's like the mad scientist there. He has got that chemistry set for Christmas. It's been sitting there and he's going to make some smoke bombs. But no, seriously, Eric, I'm hoping that Nico stays healthy, but it is a long season, and West Virginia over the past couple of years has not had a quarterback play every game healthy. Look back the past few years. There's been 1 or 2 games where they've had to have a backup come in and win a game or two. that's not going to change. I really think that Henderson is going to be that number 2, but Scotty Fox really looked fantastic. Just that breakaway. He has a giddy up and go, and that just got me so excited. Now, everybody's going to say, oh, that was Robert Morris's number 2s. I don't care. I don't care. Mountaineer Field is 59 yards. You can't tell me the number 2 free safety can't catch a quarterback at a pursuit angle. Come on.
You know what? He did catch him. Scotty sat him down. You take a look at that. I know he didn't have the best angle on Scotty,
right?
But props to Scotty. That was some stiff arm action.
Yep. Baptized him right there on the 20-yard line. Said,
healed him.
I'm going to see the end zone. Hallelujah. Yep. Give me a pepperoni roll and a hug, and let's bring on the country roads, baby, because it's the fourth quarter and it's time for me to go to the blue lot and do a keg stand. That's what Scotty Fox was saying, baby. So, are you gonna so you didn't make it the last game? Are you gonna make it to maybe the pit game?
The pit game I don't have tickets for, but I'll probably tailgate for that one.
Yeah. So we're going a little off subject, then we're gonna get to the running backs. What's the go-to for a local just to tailgate? You just tailgate and then go back home, or you tailgate and go to like varsity club?
Now, see, the varsity, that's a good time. And I've done that. That's a great time, actually. There, Kegler's, Mountain Mamas, these are all great places. I've got a long-standing tradition. I've got a lot of friends I grew up with here in town. So our big thing is that we will all, message throughout the game, relentlessly. You would think that we're, Swifties the way we text each other during the game. But, how about you, man?
No, I when I go to a game, I usually have I mosey through the blue lot to kind of see if I see anybody I know. Might hit one or two people I know. Then I go to a buddy of mine I've known for 30 years. He's over in a light blue lot. Hang out there for 20 or 30 minutes. I go over to the practice facility. I take a leak, go back over, top off, talk to my buddy again over at the light blue lot. And then my seats are over in that corner in 132. So that's what I do. That's how I do it.
A solid routine right there.
Yeah, that's it. That's a lot of walking, man. Get my steps in. But no, back to football. So, guys, as I said, we're not journalists. We are just Mountaineer fans that are the batshit crazy for, the Flying WB. So, Eric, what is your favorite thing to eat at like tailgate wise? Is it the pepperoni roll or is there something else?
Now, there's so many. So I'm not the biggest fan of the pepperoni roll. I know it's got to be like there are legit pepperoni rolls that I go out of my way to go get.
Okay.
The Point over in Preston County, those are amazing. There's a few over in Fairmont, the Fairmont area. They're incredible. But usually you go to the tailgates, people all have their own thing. So like, I'm not going to hate on anything, but pepperoni rolls, you can get those about any time. But folks will bring their chili. Folks will bring, usually there's a chicken dish or two. How about you, man? What's your go-to?
I don't like to eat a lot while I'm there. And I don't drink a lot either when I tailgate. I like to kind of pick, maybe some chips or whatever, if they have some fruit or something, whatever they have. But, I will have maybe one or two pepperoni rolls. I like the bread to pepperoni roll ratio. I don't like the big, huge ones. But now, I just want to hit you up and ask you, because everybody has their own flavor, and you always have like you're spot on with what's good in West Virginia, because you lived there for a minute. But I have here, I'm going to put it up. Bowers is a backup. What I saw of what he had 10 carries, I don't know, maybe give or take some. I would love to see this kid get more carries. I might have misspelled his name, but I mean,
You,
when you think,
Shane, I think you're right on the money, and that's a great call there. Asking about Bowers because I mean, look, I'm not going to start turning on Jaheim or on Nico. Nico, these are your tried and true, and they've proven themselves. But if you look at the PFF rating for Bowers, he lit it up.
yeah,
Um, and to me, the difference between it's speed versus quickness. Uh, Speed is top end. How fast can you go? And quickness is basically how fast can you change that speed. And I tell you, Bowers has a little bit of an edge on the top end. There's no doubt. If we
yeah.
can pop him free now, Jaheim, he's shifty, man. It's hard to get a hold of him.
No, I was so surprised when I saw Bowers actually get pull away, and that's something that when Rich Rod was talking about, I need a few guys, I need to do this and that in spring ball. I think this is the guy he was talking about. I think in his mind he was talking about I need some speed. This is the pull away speed I think he was referring to because Bowers was signed, if I'm correct, after the spring game. So this was the type of cat they're shopping for. And my gosh, did they get a quality back that we're going to see some breakaway, I think some big runs. And if I'm Rich Rod, which I'm not, gosh darn it. But if I'm Rich Rod, I'm gonna be splitting time. It's a long season. I'm gonna give White some time. I'm gonna give Bauer some time. And just like a quarterback, there's enough food on the table to for everybody to eat. So
Well, there was a reason. So, man, you raised a great topic here. So, first of all, Rich said he wants to run 100 plays a game. I don't know that that's possible, but it's a great goal to shoot for. And snapping the ball every 15 seconds, you're going to have a ton of plays. So you're right. Everybody's going to get a chance to eat. And one thing I was really impressed with was the notion that we didn't have a lot of penalties from moving at that speed, which I was pretty happy with that. First game of the season, I didn't know how that was going to go.
surprised.
Thought we handled that well.
I was surprised. I was surprised, Eric. I was blown away at the fact that that the ref was getting out of the way. I remember back in the day, the refs were actually in the play sometimes, in the, getting trampled. They got the hell out of the way, and it was fantastic to see these guys run to the line, not kind of jog. They sprinted to the line, got up there, got set, looked to the right, made sure that they were lined up, got the thumbs up, and it was boom, boom, boom. There was a few little cramps there, wink, wink,
Yeah.
that I don't know. Is that a legit cramp, or are you just trying to buy time to figure out what West Virginia is going to run? I would have been cramping up in the first quarter rather than the second or third if I'm a Robert Morris player. Just saying, because if they're tempoing me and I'm trying to figure out what's happening, I know that quad's getting tight. Oh baby.
I expected to see. I didn't expect to see a whole lot of that against Robert Morris because I think Robert Morris came in here knowing that, yeah, we're coming in here to play a game and give them a good show and pick up a paycheck, and
Yeah.
we're gonna work hard, and that was it. And that's what I saw. They played very respectably, in my opinion.
Oh,
Um,
I thought they were great. Now
yep.
there was one little bit. I'm going to talk about one negative aspect that kind of concerned me, and that was the offensive line didn't seem to get much of a push there the first quarter.
That's interesting. Please continue.
Well, I just didn't feel like they looked that sharp the first quarter. I didn't see huge gaps. I mean, go now. Here's the thing. I don't know exactly, if it was because maybe my expectations were, well, I want to see big, huge, gaping holes because Robert Morris's school has 3,800 students. It's a smaller school. They've never played them before. I don't know what to expect, but I thought it was going to be like Wofford or like Albany or something, but it just didn't. Especially if you're tempoing a team like that. I didn't see that. I didn't see him getting gouged. And going back to 2 years ago, you had Zach Frazier. You had guys that were NFL caliber offensive linemen. I'm still a little concerned. Are these guys going to be able to just smack people in the head and make those holes for run plays like they've done in the past, especially in the Big 12? And Curtis is right. It was vanilla play calling, but look good.
Well, and that's and Curtis couldn't. He nailed it. From what I saw, and I actually came away from the game with a positive feeling about the offensive line.
Okay.
Not a lot of penalties. Quite honestly, they scored pretty decent. Most of the offensive linemen scored in the 70s, and although that's not super great, it's solid. That's a solid performance from an offensive line which was, largely they're unseasoned. I think between them, I think they have like 30 starts, somewhere 20 to 30 starts somewhere in there. That's nothing. I thought they did solid. And of course, you play a team like Robert Morris, all due respect. You're not going to go to the well on Robert Morris. You're going to keep it simple. Rich has always been that way. Here's the opponent. I've assessed them. And here's the, whatever number of plays offense that you're going to get to run against these guys and to beat these guys.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't make it work with these plays, it's on you. You go out and execute. And I saw that. I think you're right. The first quarter in particular, didn't see him executing. The zone blocking. You're looking to move and get people basically, how should I say, out of sync on the defensive line, so that you create a seam. And once you create that seam, like you said, that's where your back runs up through. I didn't see that either, but they scored well. Didn't see a lot of penalties. They seemed to do better as the game went on. I was pretty happy there. Now, jumping back to the running backs, I think we see now we have a stable of running backs. I think we're going to be okay there. But sure enough, and I shouldn't say that. I just jinxed us. Clay got dinged pretty good, didn't he?
Yeah,
he didn't come back in.
No, I haven't heard like what the injury is. Chad, if you know what the injury is, hit me up. Let me know. I didn't see any reports on that, but we didn't see Edwards. There's we didn't see Divine. But Ohio, I think you're going to see a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about Ohio, for the second half of the show. As we mentioned earlier in the show, they've played, 15, 16 times. It's 13-4. I have written down here what the record is. So they've lost Ohio 4 times. But the series goes back to the 1800s. Okay, it goes back to the dawn of college football. So we're talking about antiquity, back when they had leather helmets and whatnot. So this Ohio team has a quarterback that can ball out and gave Rutgers fits. If the Mountaineers don't take this seriously, which I think they will with Rich Rod. I mean, they're not. They run the line. He has their heads right. This isn't a head spacing thing. I'm concerned that the typical trap game. I think of Admiral Akbar from Star Wars. But it's this would be a trap game because you're thinking, hey, it's game day coming to Morgantown for Pitt. It's the big, Rich Rod, go against Pitt. Last time he played Pitt, it was, we know, 13-9, and that whole big mess is going to be talked about. That noise is all going to be sprinkled in there with that. I'm hoping everybody stays focused on Ohio Bobcats, what's in front of them. Your thoughts, Eric, on all that craziness that's going to be, mixed in there this week coming up?
So you're 100% right. I mean, I think everybody circled this. Anybody who had any familiarity with the Ohio program had this one circled long before the season started.
Yeah.
We've talked before about how they upset Iowa State, which, Rutgers is Rutgers. No disrespect to them, maybe a little, but they gave Rutgers all they could handle. That being said, Iowa State, that is a solid program. Matt Campbell's he's not gonna disappoint anybody. So the notion that they upset Iowa State 2 years ago, it was the exact same scenario. Second game of the season, shocked them. So I don't think, I'm hoping that with the fact that Ohio has had 3 consecutive 10-win games, we talked about in the past too. The upset against Iowa State. I think that it won't be a hard sell job to the players.
No.
You ever look this team, you can forget Pitt. You can forget the game day talk. You can forget everything. We have to go to Athens and take care of business.
Yeah, Athens is known for their Halloween parties, but when you beat Iowa State, when they had those 2 fantastic receivers, I forget Higgins and I forget the other one, but those guys are in the NFL now, and that Ohio team beat those guys, and I think that year West Virginia lost to Iowa State. Yeah, that was a shocker. West Virginia definitely, that's more of a concern. I was looking at the statistics, and it has the probability of West Virginia beating Ohio. Okay, and it has dropped 4%. So they went from like a 58% to a 54% chance of winning.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know why it dropped, but it did. Maybe just because of the mere fact that it was, they played Rutgers close. But let's talk about some strange occurrences in college football. Alabama lost to Florida State. Florida State had a terrible year last year. They came out and smacked Alabama in the mouth. Got a lot of funny memes of pictures of Alabama fans. They like to give people the bird. As soon as the camera pans to them, they just flip them the bird. What's up with that? That's strange.
I think they had their worlds turned upside down. I don't think they knew how to handle that. That was the first time since 2002, something like that, early 2000s, since they've lost against a non-SEC opponent.
Yeah, and then season opener, it was like it's been forever, but that just boggles the mind that the reaction was similar for all the different times they panned to people. Yeah, act like you've been there before. So, yeah, quit focusing on me while I pout energy, Afton says. That's exactly what it is. So, it's just, that was really strange. Another thing is, there's a school called Tartan State that beat
Army. Yeah.
Tartan State. I mean, I thought that was made up. That sounds like something from Hogwarts, like something that I'm not that a fan of that genre, but I mean, it seems like something when you go down to Universal that you drink that butterbeer and cast spells and stuff. Boy, the Black Knights were so tough last year, and then now first game they lose to a team that they had to pay to play. That's what really is just strange with the NIL is literally the great equalizer. You don't really know what's happening anymore. And Army does not use NIL, so I mean they're the one that it really they can't they're definitely going to be affected because the teams they play can pay to get some quality guys, and they still have to meet the height and weight standards per the Army regulations, for commissioning lieutenants. And I think they're going to lose some games this year. But those are my rabbit holes of just strange occurrences. Everything else seemed to kind of go with what we kind of expected. Not too many upsets. The Notre Dame game was a good game. Miami is back. It looks like. I mean, that one-handed catch, Michael Irvin going crazy on the sideline. The U when they're not doing well, there's no one in the stands. But when they're doing well, everybody in Miami, Southern Florida, is a Miami Hurricane fan. Is that a correct statement?
100%.
I mean,
And kudos to them that was a hell of a game, and that one catch, which everybody's talking about, absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. Now jumping back to the service academies,
yeah,
I got a buddy who is a West Point grad, and we were talking about this game, and he there was no excuses offered. He said it's just that's not acceptable.
yeah.
But when I look at the other academies, they took care of business, and
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the cause was, and
there's a big difference between our Army and Air Force and Navy. Now, here's the difference. Air Force and Navy allow a waiver. They allow their guys to not make height and weight. In order to commission, they play their senior year, so they quit playing ball in December with the Army-Navy game, right? By May, they have to lose that weight if they're an offensive lineman and meet the regulations to meet height and weight or tape to commission. You can't do that. It's so difficult. So the Navy and the Air Force don't really do that, so they can get some bigger bruisers in. So until they kind of change that and juice it a little bit, it's going to be what it is. It is what it is. You're going to have guys that are, like Villanueva, who played for Steelers. He wasn't a heavy dude then. He was lean. He was a tight end. He was real tall and gangly because he could make the height and weight standards. But anyways, that was my Army rant because that was really surprising. But Curtis had a good point. KSU about lost to North Dakota. They didn't. But North Dakota, year in and year out, are balling out and playing for national championships.
Yeah. And plus, Kansas State had that rough trip. I mean, that playing internationally like that is rough. That game was a brawl to the end.
And then coming back from that, I mean, how to recover from. I mean, if you ever fly internationally, it takes a couple days to get the cobwebs out, and then your gastrointestinal, just everything gets jammed up, either jammed up or just too loose. I mean, I know that's a lot of information, but that happens. And especially, football players are not little petite dudes, and they're in an aircraft for how long, traveling that distance. We talked about that on the show before. Just with the cross country stuff, it just sucks for them. So anyways, that was just going off what's going on in college football, because here's the thing. I think if we're talking about trending, with Rich Rod tearing up, with just the splash and the swagger and just the fun of what you see on the field, the running, the tempo of the offense, the brand is coming back, baby.
100%.
The stock is rising, and if you are a college football fan, it's time to buy. And it's time to buy some Mountaineer magic. I'm telling you, it's just the Big 12 might not have done well this week as far as the win and loss column. But in Morgantown, I'll tell you what, sky's the limit. Because if game day comes into Morgantown in 2 weeks, Pat Mack said this, Eric. He said, all you got to do, Rich Rod, is beat Ohio. All you got to do is beat Ohio.
last year or the year before, I can't remember. It was the Coal Rush uniform game against Iowa State, and there was, the scene was set for us. The stage was lit up. We had the national eye on us, and it was set up beautifully. If you win that game, you launch your program into the national spotlight again. And we missed that chance. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
This game is filled with stories, this pit matchup. Everything from Rich being back to, the last team he played, the last team he coached against was Pitt. While at WVU. We lose 13-9. The game's played on 9-13. There's Pat Mack is going into the Hall of Fame. There's a lot going on around this game. So absolutely, this is one of these games that I'm not saying we're going to end up in, you win if you win that game, all of a sudden you're back.
Yeah.
But you win that game, and if it's even if game day doesn't come, but we get some spotlight there, that is going to be a momentum builder. That, like you said, that is going to shoot our stock prices up. And especially if the rest of the Big 12 is having a bit of a rough time,
Right.
I'll set the table for you. The Big East, when in 2005 through 2008, and really even 2003, the Big East was struggling itself to have dominance by a program. West Virginia seized the opportunity, jumped into the national spotlight by dominating that league. If we can become much more competitive in this Big 12 conference and take this time when the rest of the conference may struggle, we could be the shining light.
Yeah. Now that's exactly what they need, because especially if the Big 12 has some teams with some losses, uh, they have to fly the flag. I mean, you got to fly the flag, because there are certain teams that have when the end of the season comes. Hopefully, West Virginia gets one of those really good bowl games, and the difference between getting, like last year, that one win is the difference between getting a $3 million buyout, payout for that bowl, and a $1.5 million payout. That's a big difference in getting a bowl. Also, we're talking about PR. Pat Mack, the fact that he talks about the Mountaineers on his show, and it's a lot easier to talk about the Mountaineers when they're winning, and when they're the talk of the Big 12, when they're representing the Big 12, when they're in the conversation for a Big 12 championship, or if they beat Pitt. It's just so much easier for him to bring up. Just saying, it's easier to talk about a winner, and the cure for conference realignment for West Virginia being left sitting at the big boy table instead of left sit at a little kid's table like a Thanksgiving, a little folding chair and tables where you're sitting there and all the older cousins are with the adults. Eric used to sit there, it. Like,
I still sit there. What are you talking about?
Right. I mean, you got to have those wins, and that's the cure. That's the cure. That will keep Preston Fox in Morgantown if West Virginia is winning. Because here's the thing, Preston Fox, if West Virginia can keep him around, man, he's going to be a good one. He's going to be a good quarterback.
You mean Scotty Fox?
Scotty Fox. Why am I suppressing Fox? These too many foxes in the hen house here.
But you're right, man. We got to stay nationally relevant. Got to stay relevant.
Keep relevant. So, man, I can't believe you did this on the fly. in isolation with all the wild. You got family coming in for the holidays.
I'm sitting here in the broom closet, man. It's me and the cleaning solutions in here.
Sniffing Fabuloso or whatever it is. No, but Thursday, guys, we're going to talk a little bit more about Ohio. Talk about Ohio. We're going to talk about Athens, the fact that there are Mountaineer fans that bought season tickets for Ohio so they get those seats. They did. I know a couple of them. And also, guys, if you haven't checked out the channel, this is the West Virginia Live, Voice of College Football, West Virginia show. We're here every Monday at 9, and every Thursday we're here too at 8 o'clock. So check us out. Eric, Shane, Voice of College Football. Guys, if you're not a Mountaineer fan and you just like talk about college football, maybe talk about pepperoni rolls, you can still join us. But we're here every week. Guys, Eric, do you have anything to add?
But I can't wait to talk football on Thursday. It's going to be great. This matchup with Ohio is not going to be one. I mean, do not miss this one. Do not sleep on this game. It's going to be a good one.
I agree. So, with that, guys, I'll tell you what, it's a great day to be a Mountaineer, and it's even greater. So we're going to let you go with a little bit of, if you're a Mountaineer fan, what makes you feel better than the great state of West Virginia, but seeing the state flag? So here we go. Let's go Mountaineers.